All right, y'all. Today we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business, see if they have BSS with their local or their city Google search here in Vacaville, California. So we're back in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, where we focus on full spectrum intent capture. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our, FSIC down there in white. High intent peeps on the left, low intent peeps on the right. And if a boudoir photography business is rising, most likely they're pulling in peeps from this entire intent spectrum. But if we got a boudoir photography business that's falling, we're missing some chunks of people somewhere. And way over on the left, the highest intent peeps, that's Google search, social search. People searching for boudoir photo shoot in their city, like right now. That's where we focus on talking about BSS, which is what we do here. Way over on the right, that's the lowest intent people. They ain't searching for boudoir right now. They most likely don't even know what the heck it is. So that's our sister brand. We're talking about BLCS, and right now with that brand, we're only working with boudoir photographers currently running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 slots is, that's a fast death of a business, because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never hit page 2. So we're invisible to literally 4 out of every 5 people if we're on page 2. Our business go downhill fast. We care about being visible to the approximately 80% of searches that are page 1 only searches, because they're the bulk of the market. Now, 1 slot on page 1 of Google is no bueno as well, because basically, every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is going to have 1 slot as well, at minimum. And so and there's 10 organic slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, we're actually going to, we'll look the same as everyone else. When we look the same as everyone else, we will, buyers are just going to click. 80% of buyers anyway are going to, that's our page 1 search only. They're going to click, and every single link on page 1, open everyone's website, fill out everyone's contact form, price shop everyone, get the best, offer rate for themselves. And, it's kind of just death by 1,000 cuts there. So we do not want to have BSS. And it's also because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which most people know about. That's, seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they turn off their Google My Business profile, and their website's an issue boudoir. So it's kind of, making it harder to rank on page 1 of Google. And, or someone gets a new camera, then they start posting in the mom Facebook groups that they now shoot boudoir. So it's more sellers for the same number of buyers, makes it harder for each seller to get buyers. And this happened, kind of big way with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, but couldn't earn money, but they still needed to earn money. So guess what? Everyone's already got a smartphone with an awesome camera, triple cameras on it. So it's really easy for people to turn and become boudoir photographers. Increase in supply, but demands remain the same. So that's market saturation. Now, the new one that most people have never even heard of is the false belief of page 1 equality. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually believe, okay, every boudoir photographer gets 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google just kind of naturally. That's simply how it happens. And, maybe we were on page 1, but new boudoir photographer came in, ranked the website above ours, we got pushed off. And as a result, we kind of just, that's simply how it is. I guess, we'll have to wait, hope they delete their website and Google stops indexing them for us to hopefully get back on page 1. And hopefully Google doesn't pull in somebody else to page 1 ahead of us. But this is actually a false belief. And I know it's a false belief because I know that Google will give as many page 1 slots to peeps as they want. And, as they're willing to put in the effort to acquire those, kind of those slots. So I know this because I actually went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using this new methodology I developed. So false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, we got to kind of break through this mental barrier, break through this kind of this false belief, so we can even look around and see if there are solutions available that can solve it, because people kind of naturally accepted this thing could not be solved. Now, Boudoir Photographer BSS is a disappearing Boudoir Photographer, DBP. Yeah, because we got 0 slots on page 1 and we're on page 2 or deeper. Yeah, basically, approximately 80% of searchers have never seen us. We're definitely disappearing Boudoir Photographer, which matters because that is the first signal, the first kind of flashing emergency signal, emergency light that says, that basically says the boudoir photography business as a whole is eventually going to be disappearing. And same thing with 1 slot on page 1 of Google. I mean, we're still basically invisible. We're looking the same as everyone else. We're being price shopped to death. Just a real waste of time. So, it's the start of our universe here on the left. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, or the false belief of page 1 equality, which causes people to not act and go out there and take as many page 1 slots in Google as they want, because Google will give them. Now, luckily, we do have the solution. I created it. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent buyer keywords. And when we do that, it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, or kind of the small streams, the small rivers. That's saturating social search, and those eventually all flow together down to the big Amazon River. And that is that's Google page 1. So it's kind of everything flows to Google page 1, but it starts with saturating social search. Now, this is the exact strategy I use to go from, again, 0 out of 10 slots page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. Show those results here in a little bit. And this is actually the only strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers that enables a boudoir photography business to actually successfully fight back against market saturation, and then to actually still continue to grow the business in the face of market saturation in a relatively quick time frame. Technically, the only other thing that can successfully do that is brand, having a massive, large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's, going to start taking people's jobs. Actually, I believe it already has, and it's going to be taking more and more and more people's jobs. So the reason that I see that this is the only strategy that can do this in a relatively quick time frame is imagine we're in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're one boudoir photographer there, but there's a million total competing in the marketplace. Everyone's got their website, so we're all trying to rank up on Google page 1. But we say, okay, S-cubed methodology is the only thing that can actually help me compete ASAP, faster than anything else, without spending ads, without having to build a brand. Then what we do is we actually crank S-cubed methodology up to the max. So this is like what we would do in this scenario, crank it up to the max, or this hypothetical scenario. And let's say we get for 300 page 1 slots on Google, or across all the social networks for the highest intent keywords. And after we do that, we also, those flow onto Google, and let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google as well. That's like literally the first 30 pages. And as a result of that, anytime any buyer in our city is looking anywhere for us, or not for us, but for boudoir photo shoot, whatever those highest intent keywords are, anywhere, searching on social networks, all the largest ones, or searching on Google itself, they literally only see us for the first 30 pages. And if approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2, then basically ain't nobody hitting page 31, which is where basically our competitors start. So obviously, if they can really only find us when they're searching, whose business will continue to grow? Ours. Whose business will it will continue to decrease. Well, that's the other 999,999 boudoir photography businesses competing against us in the same city market, because we, turned S-cubed methodology up to the max and do way faster than creating a brand, way faster. And also, I believe it'll, help create a brand, I don't know, estimate 8x faster, just because of how many surfaces we'll actually be on. Now, once you're with the S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. And, this next initial benefit, first one is, getting the slots page 1 on Google. And then the second one is every new page 1 slot we get on Google, we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is super awesome because now we know if we're kicking our competitor off page 1 of Google, they're page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of peeps ain't never going to find them because we know approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. They never even hit page 2. And if someone instead used a strategy to do it to us, then we're the ones being made invisible. Now, page 1 visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And Boudoir search visibility, this is our GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. Because if everyone else got 1 slot and we got 3, well, buyers may not even click on anyone else. They may even only click on ours because like, man, why does Google recommend these people, this person 3 times? There must be some reason. They must be good. And we actually kind of dominate everyone else on the page. And there's always like a very, very tiny chance someone could have 2 slots page 1 on Google as well. That's rare though, especially in the cities with city searches because there's so much competition for keywords. And so as a result, even if the super rare chance someone has, two slots, there are 3 slots still dominate them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, which is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 methodology, or the false belief of page 1 equality. Then now we have the solution, SQ methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results. This is the keyword I want to rank for, BLCS Boudoir. It's for our sister brand. And I exclusively used SQ methodology to do exactly this. And what I did, well, let's see the results. This after 10 days. So we got slot 1, organic, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So dude, 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 in 10 days. This is my results I got using this methodology. So now main event here, we're going to look at this boudoir photographer of Vacaville, California. I might have to copy this, bring it over if I don't have the tab up. So we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search. Actually, their local and city search is actually the same in this case. All right. There's a Vacaville. All right, so going down to the organic. Nope. 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 There we go. We got 1. And let's see. Nope. 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 All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So, in Vacaville, where is this place? Stockton. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's between San Fran and Sacramento. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 slots for Vacaville, California. So yes, we do have BSS, or this boudoir photography business does have BSS, boudoir search sameness. And we have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. And that's recommended because, dude, if we're 3 out of 10 local and 3 out of 10 local search, 3 out of 10 city search, page 1, we can basically guarantee we're not disappearing. We're either treading water or we're growing, most likely growing. That's why we want to hit 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 on Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation, yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably gonna bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page one Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page one on Google. And you see SQ's methodology and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you know you want to use SQ's methodology to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using SQ's methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increasing the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day, more and more people using AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume, but we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which SQ methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page one against us and build up keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads, momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum and then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page one. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page one domination, which is like, dude, that's like seven out of 10 slots or more. Page one Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with one person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page one slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then kind of you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.